Hey everyone, what I have here is my Sony RX10 and this is how I used it today to live stream. I finished a live stream with my friend Kevin about an hour or so ago, probably a few days ago for you guys, but I finished about an hour or so ago and this is the setup that I used. I've got a tripod here, I've got a horizontal arm, I've got the RX10 and I've got, if I turn on my power bank, I've got light. So yeah, that's just a little basic light. I actually had 3 different lights on downstairs. So I used this for the live stream and I was really pleased about that because I've been looking for a reason to use this. I was using the Sony RX10 as my overhead camera for a couple of years, but I recently upgraded to the Sony RX10 Mark II, which is there. Now, one of the reasons I like that, well, there's 2 reasons. One is that it can do 4K. And the second reason is that I can charge that via micro USB. And it's the same with my new Sony Alpha 6500. I can continuously charge it using the micro B cable, which means that it doesn't matter if I'm recording for 10 minutes or 30 minutes or 3 hours. It just stays powered on, it stays charged. And that is essential if you're doing a live stream, but it's also useful if you're just doing simple recordings like this as well, short recordings. Now, my Sony RX100 has always had that functionality, and that's why I've been using this for a few live streams in the past as well. But my Canon M50, no, this doesn't have it. And I have been caught out a lot of times with batteries with this, where it'll be at 3 bars or 2 bars, and then boom, it goes. The battery goes down to 0 and you've wasted a lot of your time. And that's one of the limitations of the Sony RX10. It doesn't support charging via micro B. But you can see that there's 2 cables here plugged into the camera area. The one at the top is this LED light. But you can see there's another cable here. And that is a charger for my Sony RX10. This is what's known as a DC coupler, or dummy battery. This is called a dummy battery. Well, the dummy battery is actually in there. But effectively what this means is that you can, it's almost like tricking the camera, but this is a supported accessory. The official one is anyway. And you can continuously charge the camera. You can continuously power the camera just using a USB cable. As long as you've got 2 amps going into it, you can continuously charge the Sony RX10. And that's how I was able to do a live stream. Previously, the battery, well, it wouldn't have lasted that long. So if I take this off, I'll be able to show you how this works. So before I do, I just want to quickly show you the one that I've got. Now, it seems to be from a different brand, but this looks identical to the one that I've got, and it's on Amazon.com, $20.99. I purchased this one in the UK, and you can see this one will work in most of the larger Sony devices, the Sony E5000, 5100, 6000, Next Series, RX10, Mark II, A7R. It works with so many different cameras. £20.99. So yeah, that is the one that I've got there. Now, I did a video about DC couplers before, and my hesitation was that, well, there is always a risk that you can damage the sensor. There's always a risk that you can do something to the camera, which is why many people just buy the official one. But the official one for the Sony RX10 is like £90. Second hand, I'd probably only get £200 for this, and I'm refusing to spend £90, £100 on an AC adapter for a camera that's only worth about £200 second hand, which is why I picked up the one that was £20. But I also like the fact that this one is USB, because it means that I can power it via a USB power bank, like I'm about to do now. So if I jump over to the Sony RX10 Mark II, what I will do is turn the camera on. It will get nothing. So there's nothing going to be shown just now because I've got the dummy battery in. But if I plug it in, eventually, we should get power. And there we go. We've got power. If we zoom down a little bit, you can see 93%. Now, it's a little bit strange to me that it doesn't just say 100%. I don't know the reason for that. When I got it, it was starting at 93%. It was going down to 85, 80%. I've not actually ran it down to 0% yet. I lost about 5-10% when I was doing the live stream. But yeah, I don't know why it doesn't just say 100% all the time. It's a little bit strange. But the reason that I'm puzzled by that is because, well, this doesn't have a real battery. This is what's called a dummy battery. Now, you can see here, if I bring this out, if you can get it one-handed, can I? There we go. So this is the dummy battery, and I really should have taken that off before. But this is the dummy battery, and it's very light because there's nothing in it. But it's the same size as the official battery, but this really is just an empty shell. There's nothing there. All this is doing is transferring the power, in this case, from the power bank. But it comes in two parts here. It goes down to here, like that, and then you plug it in like that. So there's like two parts, but the cable is quite long. You know, it's a couple of, I don't know, it's probably 6 feet or so. It's a good size. Now, the Sony camera, just like my Canon camera, this one, it's got a little space in there where you can actually feed through a cable. So that's the Canon M50. Every camera company does it a little bit differently. Here, you put it in just like you would do a normal battery, and you know, there's an official Sony battery for reference. And put it in, and all you have to do is feed the cable at the top here. So you need to try and make sure the cable's at the top like that, because you need to close it. That has to be closed for it to work. And then, obviously I've got a power bank, need to make sure it's charging. There we go. So now it's running. Now previously this wasn't in a power bank. I would much prefer to use this with like an AC adapter at the wall or something like that, but it will work with a power bank. The reason I'm saying that I don't always like to use power banks is that a lot of the power banks I've got, every so often it drops down for a second or two, or it just doesn't give you a charge for a second or two, which isn't a problem if you're charging a phone or a camera. But with something like this, it has to be continuous, because if you lose power for a second, your video or your live stream will go down. So yeah, that's why I would still, you know, on the safe side, I would prefer to use an AC adapter for the USB port. I'd prefer to plug this into the wall, effectively, or a wall adapter. Now, as far as instructions go, nothing really there. All it does do is stress the fact that you need to have 2 amps or more. So make sure you've got essentially 2.4 amps. That's kind of the standard for phones over the last few years, but cheaper adapters that deliver 0.5 amps or 1 amps will not work. And it's the same with power banks. You will need something that can deliver 2 amps minimum. So you have to make sure that you get one that uses 2 amps. Now they're saying we recommend Anker's power bank. Most modern power banks now will use 2.4 amps, but you do get sometimes where it's 2.4, 2 and 1 and different things like that. So make sure you plug it into a port which is 2.4 amps. And it's the same if you're doing it with an adapter at the wall. It's the same if you're using an adapter in your car. Make sure this can deliver 2 amps. If it doesn't, well, you're not going to be able to power this. Now, at this point, I've not been using this for a long time, but first impressions are positive. That got through the whole live stream there for an hour or so. Absolutely no problems. And what that means for me now is that I have a camera which I can use for live streams. Previously, I could not use this for live streams because I would be limited to how much power I had in a battery. And you never know, you know, when you do a live stream, okay, if it's 20 minutes or 30 minutes, fine. But sometimes I went on to do a live stream and I planned on it being 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And then, you know, a lot of people dropped by. There was a lot of comments. It was an hour or two. And you just can't take that risk with a battery. I always like to have a continuous power source when I'm doing a live stream. And as I said, when I got the Sony Alpha 6500 and the Sony Alpha RX10 Mark II, this kind of was surplus to requirements, but I was very reluctant to sell it straight away because secondhand, you only get about 200 or so in the market for this. And I think that it's worth more to me for that. Right now it is anyway, because with these two cameras, most of the time it's kind of surplus to requirements because I've got my Canon M50, but I can use both of these now, both of these downstairs, to have a 2-camera setup when I'm streaming downstairs. And it opens up a lot of different possibilities now. You know, the stream that I did today was just 1 camera on me, but you've got more people there. You can set up a lot of different filming situations. Now, the concern that I had with buying one of these before was that I could damage the sensor, or, you know, something could go wrong. And I think if you're looking to power an expensive camera. If you just spent $2,000 on an A7 Mark III or something like that, I would probably be leaning towards buying the official adapter, the one that's like £90, $90, $100. But for something like this is used, it's old, and I'm not going to spend half the cost of this on an AC adapter, which is why I've opted for the USB version. Looking on the reviews on Amazon, though, there's a lot of positive reviews for this. There's a lot of people saying that it works well. I don't care if this breaks. I don't care if it, a 6 months or a year down the line it breaks, as long as it doesn't damage the camera. And I think it should be okay, as long as this doesn't transfer more power than this is looking for, more power that could, perhaps damage the lens. As long as it doesn't do that, I will be very happy with this. I'll leave a link to the specific one that I bought. I'm not saying that this is the perfect one to buy. I'm not vouching for this. I've only used this for a short period of time. But so far, this does look to be a good solution for my Sony RX10. So if you've got a Sony camera, or if you've got any camera, look into DC couplers, but look at the reviews. Look at the reviews. There's a lot of scare stories out there. There's a lot of people that have damaged their cameras because they've bought something cheap. This was cheap, but there's a lot of good reviews about it, so I've taken a chance. Looks like my Sony RX10 will not be going anywhere for a while yet, guys. So thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. I'll put the little lens cap back on, make it official. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Check this out. I'm still kind of on the fence on DC couplers. Sometimes I would prefer to go with the official one, but when something's used, when something's so low in price, I'm not going to spend half the cost of the camera on an AC adapter. That's just ridiculous, which is why I've went for the cheap option. Thanks for watching, guys. If you get any questions, please do post them below. And until next time, take care.